Hey, what's up everybody? It's Andre with AndreReese.Biz. All right guys, I'm your favorite cyclecaster out here today on the day after a national holiday, I like to call it, tax season 2026. So a brother has not been on his bike for a couple weeks now trying to get the tax season all wrapped up. I know you guys have been waiting and fiending for my thoughts on various things that are happening and mechanisms that you can use to be able to cope, but most importantly, lessons that can be learned by everyone and as it relates to these topics. So yeah, so I'm excited to be back. And let me just run down real quick what the topics are going to be today, then we'll get right into it. So today, of course, I'm going to talk about tax season 2026, wave one that just ended. I'm going to talk about plans that I have in motion and in place for this year. Let's also, I'm going to keep it light. There's a whole bunch of things that have happened that I haven't talked about. I'll try to work those in. But the main two topics I'm going to talk about besides this, I'm going to talk about the Richmond flying squirrels, and most importantly, Who's Bad, the Michael Jackson phenomenon performance that I went to. I'll talk a little bit about the new Michael movie that's coming up also as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Man, like I said, today is a wonderful day out here in these RVA streets. It's roughly about 65, 67. I think today it's headed to 90 plus, like 93, 95, somewhere in there. So I'm back to my summer ride mode where during the winter time I would try to ride later in the day if I could. That way I can at least, hit the 40s or 50s. Now I'm in the opposite, where I'm out in the daytime early to be able to ride when it's cool and lay low in the evening. So yeah, I'm letting it do what it does out here, for sure. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into the first topic. Like I said, I'm excited to be out here riding, but this is my first day officially after completing tax season wave one, which is the April 15 filing without an extension. And I'm very excited. So typically what would happen before in the past when I would ride, I would usually stop riding sometime around end of October, November. Even living in the Bay Area, let me make sure I can go here. Yeah, even living in the Bay Area where temperatures in comparison don't get down into the single digits or the low double digits or below freezing, I would typically shut down and stop riding, at the end of October, early November. And then I wouldn't ride through the rest of the new year that came in. And usually my first ride of the riding season would take place, somewhere after April 15th. So I keep my stats now in Ride GPS. You can see all my historical rides in there, and at least on this bicycle that I have, not so much back in the Bay, but that's kind of typically the pattern. So I wanted to break the pattern this year, and actually coming up in towards the end of this month, I think like next week sometime, I don't know the exact day, is when I actually left the Bay Area 2 years ago and moved out here from the great state of California out here to Richmond, Virginia. And we ended up going immediately. I think I wasn't gonna move until later, but Marilyn said, hey, you wanna go to Paris? So I was like, yeah. Then we had a cruise where I was gonna propose to her. My plans were to originally move after I proposed to her in Alaska, but because of the trip, I went ahead and moved early and got that all taken care of. So all good. Yeah, and so here we are. All right, so we're good. So like I said, roughly 2 years ago, in a couple weeks is when I came out here to Richmond, Virginia, and been out here ever since. So like I said, if you check my ride history, you'll be able to see that I typically don't ride during those 5 months, roughly 5.5 months. And so I tried to make it a point this year to do things differently. And so this is the first time ever that I've been out here in these streets riding during the winter time. So it was really cool to be able to do that. And I think I've ridden over 35 rides during that time. So it was great for my life and health, and you know, I learned a lot. And so I kind of pieced together kind of like a hodgepodge of outfits and all that. But I think I'm gonna buy something actually for biking in the colder months, you know, this time around, since I definitely are gonna have committed to being able to do that. So here we are, you know, out here for the first time, and I am celebrating like a wonderful tax season. And like I said, every year, every tax season that I go through is different than the rest. No two are the same. And I kind of had talked before, the spirit of this one seems to be folks kind of getting their lives together, accepting the reality of the world, and realizing that they have to keep moving forward. And to be honest with you guys, there are a ton of folks right now that are anti-Trump. Everything that they say, everything they do, everything they post, blah, 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 is, you know, anti-Trump, Trump. All good. And so, but the problem that you run into is that we still have about 2.5 years left of his presidency. And so, are you going to become arrested in your growth and your development because you're so focused on this type of stuff? Or are you going to keep on going? So I would suggest to folks to, you know, keep on going. You can't control what you can't control. And what you can't control, you probably shouldn't worry about it at all. And I think that people are starting to realize that, because I had a number of clients that had popped up that hadn't filed taxes in 2, 3, 4 years, you know, that were kind of like, you know what, this is keeping me from moving forward in my life, and I need to do something about it. If I have to pay, I have to pay. I'm not going to fall back into that trap again. And this is keeping me from moving forward to where I need to be. And I commend them, and I also at the same time, you know, heed their message as well. And I'll kind of talk about that a little bit later in my my plans now. And so, like I said, a lot of folks did that. A lot of folks, because of the all the different things that came up in the big beautiful bill, they were motivated to try to come in and get their taxes taken care of. You know, so I think one of the big things that all the seniors asked about was the, you know, $6,000 and income shielding that they get, you know, if they're under a certain amount of income. And everybody talked about that. And I don't care if folks are, you know, staunchly Republican or staunchly Democrat or someplace in between. When it comes to money, most folks are not going to say, hey, I don't want that because, you know, it was in his bill. They're like, give it to me. And then the other thing too is a lot of people benefited from, and this is the thing, what sets me apart, I hope, is that when my clients get a large refund, I always do an analysis to tell them about what happened. This is what you did, this is what you benefited from. It's an ongoing thing, or it's a one-time thing that you got to benefit from. You know, I had one client that had sold a bunch of stock last year, and they had multiple. They had paid almost $25,000 in state taxes, and before in the past, they would be. There's people out here on the water. There's a guy out here fishing. Before in the past, they would be, you know, capped out at 10 grand. But this year, they were able to take a lot of that stuff and run it through. So when folks benefited from the SALT increase, when they benefited from the Social Security or the senior, you know, $6,000 income sheltering, I let them know. And I had a ton of clients that work overtime, double time, and that got tips. And those guys were all, they were all expecting to get the savings. And so they provided me with the necessary tools I needed up front to be able to get them what they needed. So like I said, it was a really, really fantastic tax season. It was the best one I've ever had in my life. It was busy. I had so much stuff to do, and but I made it happen. And I had some travel in there that we did. We took off for a week and went on a cruise for Valentine's Day. I have procedures where I work and I know how to work. I've got the technology to make it happen as long as I got power and internet. So I was able to work and still have fun and celebrate Valentine's Day. And then when we came back, we rolled out immediately, went down to the beach down here, Virginia Beach, and celebrated my birthday. My wife hooked a brother up and provided me with an incredible experience. And I got to do the thing with the lightsaber training. That thing was just beyond epic. I'm gonna post a video about that. So yeah, it was, and then after that, I got right into tax season. I had an opportunity to roll with Maryland and go to the UK, but I was like, let me just tap out and stay here and work. So, and things got kind of intense toward the end. I got more new clients like I always do, and filed a ton of extensions. And I got a bunch of people right now in the bank that have already submitted their returns to me. So for me to start, as soon as I get back from break. So like I said, I had a fantastic season. This is my 25th season in business, and I think I'm getting close to 10 years of being out on my own. So my brother worked hard and he hustled, and he worked 2 jobs. He worked a primary 9 to 5, plus also built his practice at the same time, and I made adjustments along the way. So everything definitely paid off this year. And then my home office setting that I have set up with my 5 monitors, and I bought a new computer at the beginning of the season, everything worked flawlessly. So I didn't see any clients this year face to face. I did everything through the internet and through text and email and through my portal and all that. So yeah, it was a fantastic tax season. So, and I think one of the most, sometimes people ask, if you want to start a tax business, what do you have to do? I tell you, it's a lot. You have to be organized and thorough beyond comprehension. So you got to realize that every one of my clients I have, I call them my clients, my friends, they feel like they're my only client. So they call, I answer the phone, they got issues and problems, I solve them on the spot, and if they're not able to make the technology work, they call, they're like, hey, I'm struggling. I'm like, hey, do this, do that, do this. And so everybody really appreciates that. And I know about all my clients, their kids, what they're into, what they're not into. Some of them may be pre-divorce and trying to figure out what to do. Other ones might be happily married. Other ones might be on the backside of divorce. Other ones may be in their 2nd or 3rd act of a life. And they really appreciate the discussions and mentorship that we have, for sure. And I'm always willing to share everything that I know with my clients and my friends. So, and if you've been thinking about, becoming a client of mine, like I said, I, if you do or you don't, I don't mind. So you're not gonna hurt my feelings at all. If I've known you forever and I don't do your taxes, I'm not even tripping on that at all. The whole purpose of everything that I do as far as marketing is concerned is just to remind people that I'm out here in these streets and I do taxes I handle all the other life stuff also as well. I'm a primary advisor. So that way, if they have a need that arises, or, you know, they have a family member that needs some help or assistance, I'm the first person that they can think of, and they'll roll to me. And so I'm willing to talk to anybody and see if I can help them. And if I can't, you know, all good. I'll let them know up front. I don't charge for those type of things at all either. And I think the other thing that was really cool about this tax season is I don't use any type of AI with my practice. So with all the different things that have been happening and discussions and data leaks, I don't want to ever put any of my clients' lives in jeopardy by using an AI solution that I don't fully understand the back end of. So I still continue to keep everything tight and close and within my lock system. But I did use AI quite a bit this year. And I pretty much have fallen back on Gemini. I'm telling you, Gemini's Google is like the internet should have been and probably would have been if it wasn't for marketing and the need to have to make money. And so I had did a test, you know, I don't know, when ChatGPT came out maybe 4 years ago. I had dropped a whole bunch of tax questions in there, and I think it ended up getting like 40% of them correct. I was like, God damn, this is really, really bad. I did another test recently, and I dropped in a couple hundred questions into Gemini, and it got them all right, 100%. So I feel like I can rely upon it for its guidance. And so there's a lot of things that I'm not sure of. And I'll tell you, when I was going through accounting school, business school, getting my bachelor's degree, you learn theory. You don't learn practical application at all. You don't learn that until you get back, until you get into the real world. And so one of the hardest things when it comes to taxes is learning about how taxation works. But the next hardest thing is how to make those things that you know you're supposed to be able to do. How do you make those, how do you fit those into the tax return? That's very difficult. And so this year, I was able to easily level up, and there was a number of different types of returns that I did that I don't typically do before in the past. And I already know the end result and how to get there, but I didn't necessarily know all the little components and pieces along the way. So I used Gemini to ask very specific questions on particular behavior. So very, very happy I was able to do that and level up. And so that's about my extent that I'm using AI now, is to ask some very difficult and complicated questions that allows me to arrive at an outcome that typically will favor my clients. And I think the last thing I want to say here about this tax season is, you know, not all of us are created equal. So, and experience over time beats out credentials, and you have to have a certain level of educational base. And if you don't, you're really just trying to money hustle. And if you use somebody that does taxes and stuff, make sure that they have a background in accounting, and a degree is always helpful, because that will train them on the mindset that they need to have. And most importantly, the other thing that you have to have is experience in what you actually do, and long-term experience as well. And so, a good example, in my career, as owning my tax practice, there's so many times where I solve and fix problems that other preparers and other accountants have done way before me. All good, you know, and this is the thing. Sometimes these kind of things where people make mistakes and they don't know what they're doing, it can cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'll give you an example without being too specific. I had a client that had an issue that they were trying to get pushed through their return, and they had an understanding and a belief that things were a certain way. I was like, based upon the paperwork and what it says, it's not true, it don't work. The IRS's code specifically talks about these kind of scenarios. And so as we talked more and more and more, and I asked for additional data to kind of back up what they provided me, I was like, oh, no, 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 no. This is 1000% wrong, Maury. So I was like, you got to go back to your person and tell them to fix this. And this is why they got to fix it. And so the other person was kind of like, well, just do this, do that. And I was like, no, When it comes to these documents getting reported to the IRS, at this level, you know, you're opening yourself up for an audit. All good. You know, you don't want to go down that streak because in the end, it's wrong. So they went and talked back to the person, and they went ahead and provided new documents. And those new documents gave them a savings of close to 15 grand. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but all just from having a conversation. So that's all I want to say. If you guys are looking at, you know, you've been considering me to be your tax person, it's a great time right now to reach out and we can talk. And if you're not a client, we can talk for an hour for about $195. We can get to know your situation, get you a game plan for 2026 for the rest of the year, and then we can keep it moving from there. You guys can join the team. And I can also take a look at what your person has done before in the past, give you an honest opinion if it's correct, and if it's not, we can amend it and get you a refund back or reduce your balance that you have with the Internal Revenue Service. So that's it. And so that's a wrap up for tax season 2026. Had a great time. And so let's roll into the next topic. So the next topic is what are my plans now for the rest of 2026? So this is kind of like a new birth after coming out of this intense pressure. You know, you've got clarity, you've got time, you've got macho independence, you know, knowing that you are the man, you know, and that you are pretty much unstoppable. And as long as you put the time, energy, and effort into it, you can make it happen. So I'm on top of the world right now. And I get this feeling every tax season for sure. And this year is just super loud and super intense in my head. And so I'm taking the lessons that I've learned from my clients this year. And anything that I have that's outstanding, that is hanging, that's not done, I'm gonna go ahead and move it to the top of my agenda to try to get it done. And so we have a ton of, over the next year, between now and next year, we have a ton of fascinating and exciting and incredible epic adventures around the globe that we're going to do. And those things are all in place, and then they're churning. And as the calendar moves closer and closer each day, we get closer to those countdowns. So like I said, for like New Year's, I said I wanted to do a bunch of stuff this year that is mind-blowing, epic, bucket list type stuff. And so that's what the goal is. But this other stuff here that I'm talking about, I'll give you an example. I have an eBay store. I think I've got probably like 3,500 items up right now that are live. And I probably have like another 700 items in my storage unit that are unlisted. And so though they've been unlisted for several years now. So since I've moved out here to Richmond, I really haven't put anything up for sale new on eBay. Just a few items here and there as they popped up. But I want to go back through my storage unit, and I want to pull all the items that I have not listed, and I want to get them up and in my store this year. And so what I essentially need to do is I need to go to my storage unit, and go to the very back of it. And if you look at my storage unit, it's very organized. When I sell a bunch of stuff, I have a relatively easy time finding stuff like 99% of the time. So, but I need to go through my storage unit, and I need to essentially act like I'm packing my store, or I'm arranging my store so that I can sell it if I need to. So what does that mean? That means everything is organized, it's kitted perfectly, and everything that's in pieces is shrink wrapped, that type of stuff. So I would probably say I'm probably at about 85% right now. I need to take it all the way to the 100% level. And then in this process, I need to also pull out and identify all the stuff that needs to be listed and get that stuff to the front of my storage unit and start chipping away at it. And make it a point to try to do 5 or 6 items a day, you know, or maybe do 20 or 30 a week. Not try to get it done all at one time, but get it to the point where it's ready to go. And so that way in the end, so that's the way I see it. In order for you to move to the next level, sometimes you have things that are in your way that are stopping you from getting there. And so if you can, you know, knock those little small things out the way, those things, a little toothpick is stopping you from having a waterfall of blessings for sure. So, you know, that's kind of where I am with this whole thing. So I want to get everything listed over the next, through the rest of this year, and then get my storage unit, eBay stuff, to the point where if I decided I wanted to sell everything, it's organized and ready to go. So I just want to pack things for production. The other thing I want to do also too is I do a great job now of keeping everything electronic with my clients. And so I probably say 85–90% of my stuff that I get from my clients ends up in the portal where it's supposed to. Other items that are kind of come in through text or through email, you know, they don't oftentimes make it to the portal. So I want to go back and through the beginning of this year and get that stuff all where it needs to go, because you never know, you know. And if I need to find stuff, I can. All good. And I need to also work on getting my accounting back to being real time, you know. And so everything used to be real time. Like when the year was over with, I was done with my bookkeeping, my accounting, all that within like 10 days of the year. And so when QuickBooks, which I used before in the past, they would raise the price, seemed like every month, every quarter, whatever it is. It got to the point where it was really expensive. So I got another solution, Xero, moved my payroll over to Gusto, and my accounting is not tight. And so I want to get that stuff all caught up so it's real time. Everything is automated. So I have to do very little to be able to keep things going. So I just need to put the time into finishing the setup and the linking like I've had done before in the past. So those are things like that that I'm trying to get done this year. And we've got projects around the house. I want to do some low to no cost things, some house maintenance. We want to be able to take time to hang out with friends and do things locally. And we had a great time last night. Matter of fact, we went down the street to celebrate tax eve, and I don't think ever in my life I've done 2 things that were relatively new. So I think 2 years ago I finished tax season when I was in Bangkok. I've never done that before. That's opened me up to be able to have the ability to finish tax season wherever I am in the world. And it's going to be that way this year because we're going to be out of town. And you know, so that is what it is. But you know, here we go. So here, hang on a second real quick here. All right, so we got a guy right there. Just want to make sure I didn't hit him. So yeah, so that's what the plan is overall this year. Is I'm gonna keep moving and keep trying to make stuff happen. And I encourage you guys also to do the same as well. And if you've got things that you haven't resolved in the past, this is the time to be doing it. This is the season to be doing it. We got a nice weather change that's happening. Things are gonna be a little warm. And so, you know, that's the other thing I wanna do too. I wanna be able to get out every day and try to exercise, whether I do it by myself or me and Marilyn go together. You know, we used to exercise quite a bit before together, regularly, you know, 1 or 2 times a week. And so I want to get back into us doing that, where we just take off and we just walk around the neighborhood, or we go get in the car and go to the lake. So, and then we have a few, like I said, in-house projects that we want to do also as well. So I want to work on those with her, you know, and then just keep our relationship growing and glowing and having a great time. And then I think the other thing is, like, when we went and hung out last night at the a rooftop, so that was fun, that was fantastic. That was really within walking distance of our house, like 30 minutes. So I had astronaut legs for me not really working out very much lately. You know, my stamina was kind of low. I was like, now let's just try the car. But I want to be able to pick something cool for us to do, and then locally, and just walk over and hang out, you know, and enjoy the evening, enjoy some festivities. So yeah, there we go, guys. That's what's happening with things I have kind of planned for this year. So like I said, I encourage you to go out of your way to solve problems that you have that have not been resolved, and get them taken care of. There's no time like the present to get it done. Okay, so let's jump on to the next topic. Let's talk about Richmond flying squirrels. So if you guys aren't familiar with them, I'm not much of a baseball fan, and never really have been. When I lived in the Bay Area, I would go see A's games occasionally, Giants games occasionally, maybe every few years or something. It wasn't something that I really cared about, and it was usually tied to an affinity group, you know, or some friends or something that wanted to go. That's about as far as it would go. And so when we moved out here, Richmond Flying Squirrels is a AA minor league affiliate to and pipeline to the San Francisco Giants, of all places. So when it comes to the minor leagues, if you're not in the majors, you can go to the minor leagues and be in a development league, where you climb the ranks and hopefully get to the point where you can work your way up to the major leagues. And so they start out with the single A teams. Excuse me. How are you doing? They start out with single A teams, and then they have double, and then so that's at the bottom. They've got the AA team, you know, which is what the Richmond Squirrels is. Then next after that, they have a AAA team, which is above the AA team. Then the final one is the actual team itself, which is like the San Francisco Giants. And so our team out here is a AA team, and they've been out here in Richmond, I think, for 20 plus years. I'm not 100% sure. They've been out here for a long time. So we don't have any major sports franchises out here in Richmond, Virginia. And people talk about the Braves all the time. I don't know if that was the minor league AAA team that was right underneath the Braves. I'm not 100% sure. But so we only have minor league. But our AA team is in that division of AA, has consistently for like the last 10 plus years had the most attendance, you know, and so people really support the team out here heavily. And every one of their first season games at home openers, they always sell out. So even before they even got the brand new stadium, you know, and all good. So it's wonderful, fantastic. And I think a lot of people are very, very, very happy about that. And so what they've been trying to do over the last 15 years, I think the owner has been trying to build a new stadium. And when he first came and took over the team, he was like, we're gonna get it done in 2 years. 15 years later, it finally happened this year. And so I think the minor league had said, hey, if you guys don't get a stadium open by the first day of the season, we're gonna pull the franchise. So they worked together and went through a lot of trials and efforts to try to make it happen, and it did. Here, hang on a second. Oh, a little weak. Okay. All right, almost there. So they went through a lot of trials and tribulations, and they broke ground on the stadium last year, and they've been working on it ever since. And they were able to get it done and finalized in March of this year in time for the new season. And geez, man. And everybody is absolutely happy. So I was blessed enough to be able to get tickets for the home opening game, and went there. It was incredible. So it was a sold out game, of course. I think they had 42 or 46,000 people that tried to get tickets, and they used a lottery method. I was lucky enough to be able to get 4 tickets. They weren't seated seats, they were standing room only. And really happy to be there and experience the game. So the ballpark is beautiful, the sight lines are beautiful. It has 360 degrees around the field. They have places where you can sit. So they have a kid zone where the parents can chill out, let the kids play in the playground. They've got Adirondack chairs, they've got bleachers, they've got some of the more ticketed areas. They've got an open patio where they've got high top chairs and rails. They've got drink rails all over the place. They've got a lounge area that's free behind home plate. They've got food, everything you can want in a ball game. And prices for tickets are only like $10. So, and they have a number of different promotions. And then that night they had a fantastic fireworks show, and we won. And so the very first season opener was out of town. We lost that game, but since then we've been on a winning streak. So I think we had 6 or 7 games here at home in the home opener series. We won all of them, and so it was really cool. And I typically don't keep an eye on these type of things, but I've got alerts turned on. So as the game's playing and we're winning, getting home runs, I'm getting alerts to that. So really, really cool. Absolutely enjoy it. And I'll say this, and let me just say this. So at this point right now, I think we are 10-1 for the season. So we are on a win streak, which is in franchise history, the first one. And the attendance records right now, out of all minor league tiers, the A, AA, AAA, our team here is number 4 overall in all the leagues, and number 1 when it comes to the AA. And so I'll tell you, it makes a difference And this is a lesson. It makes a difference when you have everything that you need. And so the players that are playing right now are playing at some of the best facilities that are, and the newest that are available right now in the minor leagues. So this is definitely a top tier facility. And some people say all the time, there's a reason why we can't have nice things. But the opposite thing here is true. This is what can happen when you have nice things. And I'm very happy and excited for all the players. And this is a chance for them to showcase themselves. This is the first time that they can actually hit home runs at home and fans can catch the balls. It wasn't that way before. And so it's a whole completely upgraded experience, you know. And so I say all this to say, if you have the opportunity and the ability to expose those around you to a better get up than what they're used to, it can definitely influence them and how they perform in the rest of their life. So is it worth it to put your child in dance school or to let them do equestrian training? Absolutely, because it gives them a whole new opportunity to perform at a level that they can appreciate. And that's another thing. Not everybody's going to appreciate it, but those that do will do well. So I'm excited to continue to watch how the team is doing this season. And we have one game scheduled next week. I think on the 23rd, we're gonna go see, they have HBCU night. And we're gonna wear our VUU jerseys to the game and check it out and enjoy it. So I encourage you guys to support the minor league team in your area if you can. It is a great family fun-based experience for sure. Everything is way cheaper. Tickets all the way down to the food. And then most importantly, the players will appreciate it also as well. So that's it for that. So let's talk about the last thing here. And let's see how much time we got. Okay, so all right, I'll talk for a little bit here. So maybe I can another 12 minutes or so. So let's talk about who's bad. Who's bad? So we already know who's bad. Michael Jackson is bad. And right now, there is an incredible Michael Jackson frenzy and fury as we move into next week when the Michael movie comes out. So we had, me and Marilyn had, so who's bad? It's a tribute group, and they got a band, they got a guy that plays Michael. He does all the moves, he sings like him, puts on a great show, and fans love it. And so before all this hoopla and hysteria started to pop back up again, you know, I saw the tickets pop up and at the local venue out in Hopewell, the Beacon Theater that I usually go to. And so we were supposed to go see the show, and that day it started to snow, and I got a call from them saying sorry, they were gonna postpone it and they'll be back. And so last week was the day that the tickets became available, or that's the day that the show was postponed or rescheduled to. So I went to go check it out, and no opener. The show started exactly at 7:45 like it was supposed to, and they performed for 2 hours. They took a 15-minute break in the middle, came back, and they did all the fan favorites. And so I'll tell you, Michael Jackson for sure is the greatest entertainer of all time. And you can even go ask Gemini and say, hey, who's the greatest entertainer of all time? It'll say Michael Jackson was. And so I was listening to a guy the other day. He was talking about the way the music industry is now, the way things are been fractioned up, it is no longer possible for a pop star to ever be as big as Michael Jackson was, or anybody, because there's not like any collective entertainment that everybody has access to. So, they said he came during the time when technology was changing and he utilized those things, and the music industry was changing, and he made an incredible product, and nobody else is ever going to be able to do that again. And so the thing was, Michael Jackson, he wasn't just an incredible performer in the US, he was an incredible performer all over the world. And he touched the lives of so many people, millions and millions of folks. And I don't know how long it's been since he's been gone. It's probably been close to 10 years, if not more. But his spirit still rings out in the world. And I'll tell you, at this show, there were old folks that were there were black folks that were there were white folks that were there, and most importantly, there were young kids. And so there were kids that were 6, 7, 8 years old that were dressed like Michael Jackson, with the hat and the glove and the whole thing. I saw another older adult, maybe in his, I should say a younger adult, maybe in his 20s. He was sitting there with his Michael Jackson jacket on and enjoying the show, so, and then all through the performance, everybody was yelling and screaming and singing, saying, Michael, Michael, even before the show started, and so I think any of us can hope that after we leave this earth, that we have this sort of an impact on so many people around us. And of course, there was negativity that happened in there. Not even going to discuss that. That's up to you to decide on how you want to believe, but we're all entitled to that. But I'd say his legacy lives on to this day, and I'm happy that he's a foundational Black American. I can hang my hat next to him, and his success, and it's inspirational for sure. Like I said, I enjoyed the show. I filmed a lot of content, and I will put up a video sometime soon this week. But as we fall into Michael Jackson frenzy next week for the Michael movie release, I tried to get tickets for the opening show maybe a month ago. It's already sold out. So we're gonna go a couple days after the opening weekend. And like I said, I'm really excited. I think Michael's nephew is Jermaine Jackson's son. He is the one that's going to be playing Michael. And Antoine Fuqua and his crew, they went on a worldwide search for years trying to find, and held auditions all over the place, trying to find somebody that could play Michael Jackson. They stumbled onto him accidentally, and they were blown away. And they were so blown away that they said, we have to keep looking, because we want to make sure that we've done everything we can do to get the best person to play. And so they came back and fell back on him, which is great, all good. And they say the one thing, and this is the thing, and you see this all the time, it's something called cosplaying. Folks will oftentimes cosplay as other people, other individuals, nationalities, ethnicities, whatever. And we're very common for having folks, as Black Americans, having folks cosplay us. And so that's the one thing that they had noted, that everybody that was performing, they had some excellent performers, they were essentially mimicking what they've seen, and they were all very, very good at it. But in the end, there was nothing like the real McCoy or what was authentic. So he grew up around Michael Jackson, he spent time at Neverland Ranch. That was his uncle. They had family dinners together. He was there behind the scenes, watched him perform. And so this is the power of DNA. All that stuff is in him. It's not on him. Everybody else is on them, but with this guy here, it's in him. And so when he got in makeup and went through the training and started performing, it brought tears to everybody's eyes, and even members of the family, because they're like, you know, this is Michael Jackson relived. And so that's the thing. If you have a wonderful gift that you have, other people in your family also have that gift. It's just a matter of them accessing it, you know, and these things operate at a DNA level, spiritual level, and the simple fact that you're around somebody, you can bring out that essence from your DNA that matches somebody in the family. Because if you think about it, anytime somebody like, you know, Shaquille O'Neal, or actually a good example is LeBron James. You know, his son is playing basketball, and that didn't fall very far from the tree. Muhammad Ali's daughter, boxing. You know, there's so many people that end up taking over for their parents' business because they have that DNA in them. So I think the important lesson here to realize is that if you come from greatness, it's already in you. All you got to do is just identify where it is and work on bringing it out, and you will be great also as well. And that's the one thing that you can't take out of you, is what is in you. So I encourage you guys, if you get a chance to ever watch the Who's Bad, the tribute group, do so. And I'll tell you, at the very end of the concert, all the fans came down to the stage, even though it's not Michael Jackson. He kind of looked like him. I think he's wearing a facial prosthesis. You know, the fans were there trying to hold his hand and try to grab him, and, you know, the same thing that they would have done to Michael. So, like I said, all we can hope is that one day our lives are all functioning at the same level where we can have that much of an effect on people. So, you know, like I said, you guys get a chance, check out Who's Bad. They're traveling. I think they've been in business now for 20 years. They are the oldest tribute band. I highly recommend it. We sat in the third row, and I think I paid like 30 bucks for the tickets, and $30 well spent. $30 out the door with no other fees involved, so definitely a great get. So that's it, guys. I don't got anything else to talk about. I've got so many things that I need to backstop with topics that have come up while I was busy, didn't get to them. And I'll probably be out here on my bike tomorrow, and I'll get back into dissecting and talking about some of these more complicated topics for sure. So take care, guys. I appreciate you as always. And if you're a friend, a client, you know, family member, appreciate you guys watching these also as well. Don't forget to send me a shout out and thumbs up, or, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to my channel. And appreciate you guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and let things ride out until the video is done. I think I've lost track of time here because I had to do an edit real quick. All right, guys. Peace. In my life. Shit. Okay. My brother fell. This is black ice. Okay. All right, I'm okay. All systems check. All right, I'm good. So let me just penguin it.